Hey, it's Rachel with Journey Back Quilts. In this series, we're going to be making traditional quilt blocks. In today's lesson, we're going to be making the Dutchman Puzzle Block, also called the Dutchman's Wheel, the Spinning Windmill, or just Windmill. To make this Dutchman's puzzle, we're going to need 2 fabrics that are 7.5 inches. These are going to be the middle portion of the points. And then we're going to need 4 1/8 squares. We're going to need 8 of these. And we're going to be making flying geese blocks again, just like we did in the last lesson. So you can watch the video here to go make those. Just use these dimensions to make them, but the same steps in this video are what you're going to use to make this. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to whip these up real quick. And after I'm done, I'll come back here and we'll get them squared up. I'll see you in just a second. Now that we have those all sewn together, we need to square them up to 3.5 by 6.5. So I'm going to take my ruler and put the diagonal of my ruler on the diagonal of my block, just like we did in the last lesson. And 3.25 is that center point that should be hitting right at your point. Now we do want 1/4 inch of fabric away from our point to the edge of our fabric, so just keep that in mind. And we're going to square these up to 6.5 inches. So I'm going to cut this right side and the top, and then rotate. Line up my ruler again, making sure that 3.25 is hitting that center mark still, but lining up 3.5 down here and 6.5 on the left side. Now, if you're a left-handy, you're going to just do that the opposite way. You're going to cut on the left side instead of the right side. We're going to trim off this side and the top. Okay. Okay, do that to all 8 of these, and I'll see you back here as soon as you're done. All right, now that we're all done with that, here comes the fun part. So this is a puzzle, right? So we can put it however we want to. You're going to have 2 blocks going this way and 2 blocks going down. And then 2 blocks going this way and 2 blocks going up, or something like that. You could switch these around so that they're all going the same direction. That looks better, so that they're kind of going in a pinwheel. So you could do 2 pinks on either side with the 2 blues, or you could make it all scrappy with different colors. You could switch them up so that they're all the pinks are the forward facing one, and then the blues are the outsides. That makes a really cool design here. Or you can switch them so that these ones are like this. That looks really cool too. So play with your puzzle and see how you want to lay it out. Maybe you made all of these the same color, and so your puzzle is just very simple, and that's totally fine too. That's beautiful. Or maybe you made them every single one of them a different color, and that would be really fun too. So play with it and see what you like, and then we're just going to sew these 2 by 2. So we're going to sew these 2 together, these 2, and these 2. Then we'll sew the whole thing together like a 4-patch. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine, put these together. I kind of like mine the scrappier look because then it doesn't look so uniform. So we're going to put them right sides together, and just like in the last lesson, X marks the spot. So right here where our seams go, this is the X. We want to sew right in between that X, not on over the point and not too far away from the point. So play with your seam allowance and see if you can get it right in that X. You might need a liter fabric. Try that again. That's better. Sometimes when you have all of those seams all stacked, it's a little thick. The needle doesn't like to go over it right away. So having a liter fabric just gives it that little helping hand. And I'm just going to chain piece all of these, so right sides together on the next set, and just keep going. Okay, we need to clip apart these connecting threads and take this to the ironing board. So for this step, it really doesn't matter which way we iron our seams because they're not going to nest. So I'm going to iron all my seams going up towards the top so that I can kind of hide some of that fabric underneath the pattern fabric and away from my background fabric. Now, you might have noticed that I ironed half of my flying geese under the color and half of it out away. The reason I did that was so that the point would lay flatter. If I ironed this seam under as well, then I'd have this really puckery, bumpy seam, and it would have been even harder for the needle to go over that bump and to keep a nice flat point. So for this step though, I'm just going to iron all my seams going up towards the top on all of these blocks. Now with our design board again, I'm going to lay these back out, trying to remember which way I put them. So these two blocks are the same, so I'm going to put them in opposite corners. I think they're going up and down, and then these ones are going side to side, like so. That way we have this cool little star point in the center. Okay, now I'm just going to sew them together as a 4-patch. So these two are going to go together. These two are going to go together. Then we'll iron the seams in opposite directions so we can nest those perfect points and get perfect points. All right, let's go sew these together. So I'm just taking my bottom row and putting them right sides together. Now remember our trick from a few weeks ago. You take a piece of fabric, just your scrap fabric. I'm using my leader fabric here. And when you're getting to big bulky seams like this, you just lift your foot, keep your needle down, and stick that right underneath the foot. And that will help raise it up so that when it goes over the seam, it's nice and easy. Ta-da! Okay, back to the ironing board. Let's press these seams. So we want to go in opposite directions. So I'm going to iron them going towards, which way does it want to go? It doesn't really matter. Let's go towards this side and away from this so that the point is all going this way. You could open your seams here too if you want to avoid that big bulk right there in the middle, but then it would make it harder to get your perfect points in the middle. And so I'm just going to press them both going the same direction. This is similar to our pinwheel block as well because we're ironing them both going the same way. Our two sides are exactly the same. Then when we rotate one, it changes the look. Oh, that totally changes the look. So I think they were going like this. There we go. Look at that. So you've got one look this way, or if you put it this way, you'd have a totally different look. So have fun with your puzzle and play with it and see which design you like. So now I'm going to put these right sides together, nest those seams. If you need to put a pin or a clip, a wonder clip right there to help hold them in place, that's just fine. And let's go sew this down. looky seams. Tuck it in. So much easier. Okay. All right, there we go. Here comes the moment of truth. Did we do it? Do we have perfect points? Oh, they look awesome. All of our points are still there. Great, let's go iron it one more time. So this one you could open your seam if you want to, or you could pinwheel it like we did in the pinwheel lesson. And we're just gonna pop apart that little seam right there. Remember, this little stitch here was just when we sewed these portions on, not this one. So even if we take this little tiny stitch out, it's not going to hurt our block. And it's going to help this to lay down so that we get this tiny little 4 patch right there. So this seam is going to go up, hit that little 4 patch, and then this one's going to go down. And I'm going to flip it over and just double check that everything's looking good from the top. Press that out a little bit more. All right, last step is to square it up to 12.5 inches. So 6 1/4 is our center line, and it's going to go right down the vertical and horizontal. And you're just looking to see if there's any excess fabric on the outside that you might be able to trim up. I have just a hair right here. And make sure it's still lined up. And I have just a hair. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just perfect. There we go. All right. Great job making your Dutchman puzzle. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this with your friends. If you hit that little bell, it will remind you of when our next lesson is so that you can keep sewing along with me. In a few weeks, we'll have a finished quilt top. Great job! Hey, thanks so much for joining me today in making this Dutchman puzzle block. I hope that you enjoyed this and you're going to go make one for yourself. I can't wait to see the colors and the different way that you put yours together. There is a link to our free Facebook group in the description box below where you can show us the pictures of your projects or ask questions, get help, meet other quilters from around the world. We would love to have you there. If you would like more tips, tricks, and tutorials, I invite you to join our society, a membership that will help you in your quilting journey make progress faster and have more fun. Next week, we're going to be making the combination star block. I'll see you then. If you hit the little bell, it will... Blah, blah. If you hit... If you would like more tips, tricks, and advice, if you would like more tips, tricks, and tutorials, I would love to have you join us. I can't say it. If you would like more tips, tricks, and tutorials, I would love to have you join us in our society. She tried.